The transmission this day of your time is called the shells of Earth. We are going to briefly describe the different layers or frequencies that are closely connected to your physical reality and in which different kinds of experiences can be had. Of course, you have the physical shell, which you are very familiar with as physical beings having a physical experience, but with a slight shift in frequency, you can experience what we call the elemental shell. And the elemental shell is where you meet elemental beings, elemental expressions of consciousness, such as pukas, fairies, sylphs, silkies, flaming salamanders, and many other representations that elemental consciousness has the ability to present itself in. Now, these shells don't really move outward per se. That's just the way you might experience them a little bit in physical reality from your space-time perspective. They're all right here, like everything is, but they're just slightly different frequencies that are still very strongly connected to physical reality. So by allowing yourself, in whatever way works for you, through meditation, through other exercises, to imagine and ponder and get in touch with the idea of these different frequencies, based on whatever symbols you already understand them to be, you will connect and be able, if you practice, to communicate in different ways with the different forms and expressions of consciousness that can present themselves to you in these different frequency shells. So, as we said, there's the physical, now there's the elemental. Elemental beings are kind of like a part of the overall energy of the earth, but they don't have to necessarily continue in a particular form. They're much more flexible, much more malleable in how they present themselves. They can present themselves as very solidly physical, but it's more like they're on a level that's akin to the idea of moldable clay, where they can go back into the energy and disappear, become non-physical, or at least quasi-physical, in a way that you cannot perceive them, and then they can crystallize themselves in some physical form, and that's why they can also be shapeshifters, taking many different forms. So by focusing on whatever affinity you have in a relaxed state, an open-minded state, to the elemental shell, and practice this on a regular basis, you can develop more communication, more awareness, more ability to perceive elemental beings, maybe even slightly before they make themselves more solid, because you can extend your senses by following the formula, and that makes you more capable of seeing things that are invisible to you now, but can become visible to you as you extend the sensitivity of your senses. So by interacting with the elementals, you can gain a deeper appreciation and understanding of your place in nature by relating to their place in nature within the elemental shell, and you can become more flexible in your experience of space and time by forming that relationship with the elementals. After that, there is the frequency of the etheric shell, and this is what includes the idea that you typically refer to as the lower astral realm. While that may seem to be the idea of a realm or a frequency or a shell that is completely in spirit, it actually has a lower frequency component that connects directly to physical reality. It's a borderline, a borderland, in which spirit beings can also make themselves appear to be relatively solid, or at least to some degree visible. This is where the idea of ghosts reside. So the etheric shell is what allows, in its frequency, a spirit being to lower its frequency to be closer to the idea of the physical shell, the physical frequency, while not completely actually being so. But the lower astral realm, the etheric shell, can allow them to present a representation of themselves as physical, because it's a low enough frequency, close enough to physical reality for you to be able to perceive them. Especially, again, if you raise your vibration even just a little bit, you can not only perceive the elementals when they make themselves come closer to physical reality vibrations, but also the idea of spirits who may take on the qualities of the etheric shell in the lower astral frequency to make themselves visible and appear very solid and even be touchable to you while still remaining in spirit. It's just that they're using the vibration of the etheric shell to imprint themselves a little bit more into your physical reality experience. Then, beyond the elemental and etheric shells, you have the archetypal shell. This is where consciousness resides and presents itself in kind of a small series of group collectives that represent symbolically different attributes of beings. So it's more of a symbolic representation, but you can still experience many of the representations of consciousness as if they are, in many ways, physical beings. But these are more representative of qualities. So you can create the idea of what you call god or goddess presentations, even angelic presentations. The idea, again, being that they're imprinting themselves in the archetypal shell to represent a certain quality or experience of energy. In other words, examples like motherhood, fatherhood, childhood, or the idea of elemental ideas, not in the same elemental shell, but the idea of the old concepts of elemental ideas. The sun, the moon, water, fire, earth, air. These kinds of things are presented in the archetypal shell, which is a symbolic representation, but can take on physical representations that would be familiar to you. They can look like human beings, they can look like demigods, they can look like the elements themselves, like a fire being, a water being, an air being, an earth being. They can take on many natural qualities to symbolically represent an entirely large concept that builds up the concept of physical reality in components. So you have the idea of, as I said, the earth vibration, the fire vibration, the spirit vibration. These things take on this quality of being archetypal symbols that represent whole entire concepts or directions or qualities of things that are close to your experience of physical reality. Then beyond the archetypal shell, there is the collective shell. And this means simply the collective consciousness of your entire planet, everything on it, not even just humans, but everything on it, the trees, the rocks, the sea, the animals. And it gives you an opportunity to experience your way of connecting to the cosmos while still retaining a connection in a grounded state to physical reality. The collective consciousness has been represented through different beings, through ascended masters and various teachers throughout your history, being that they would tap into that collective and sort of channel it to you. Beings like Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Vavoka, so on and so forth, Mary. All of these kinds of beings in various forms have been able to tap into the collective of your planet, the higher mind of all of you, so to speak, to bring through information, to share information. But of course, this doesn't mean that each and every one of you can't tap into this on your own. To access the collective information that you may require here and there, now and then, to apply in your lives in a way that allows you to be more balanced, more positive, more powerful, more energetic in your expression of physical reality. So you have these different shells, and there are others, but the ones that go beyond the collective are not as closely connected to your physical reality. They then include the idea of going into spirit, higher dimensions, so on and so forth. And it doesn't mean, again, you can't tap into them, but these shells, the physical, the elemental, the etheric, the archetypal, and the collective, are the ones that are the vibrational levels most closely associated to your experience of physical reality, and on which you rely, whether you know it or not, on which you tap into, whether you know it or not, more often than not, to guide you in life and to experience the connections that you may feel to nature and the collectivity of your entire species and your reality as you experience your journey on Earth. So allow yourself to practice this by opening up in your imagination, whether through a meditation or whatever technique you wish. Even gardening can do it because you're close to the earth and close to nature and start to feel yourself as connected to nature. And even the idea of the cryptic meditations that Willa has delivered to all of you will aid and assist you in getting in touch with the elemental level and maybe even the etheric, because again, physicalized spirits of the lower astral are also part and parcel of the cryptic and nocturnal journeys. Then you can go into parallel realities at another time. But first, gain some insight and gain some familiarity with the etheric shell and the archetypal shell and the collective shell, along with the elemental and the physical. And you will feel more things happening synchronistically that contain and include experiences within those shells, so that you broaden and enrich your experience of physical reality beyond the physical shell, but only into those shells that include the ability to connect to physical reality in a way that serves you best in life, on your path, on your journey of being more of who you truly are. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you today. And in return for the gift you have given us of interacting with each and every one of you, we ask now, with your questions and dialogue, how may we be of service to you? Then at this time, we will proceed with the idea of your meditation. Allow yourselves to become very relaxed. Let go of the cares of the day. Let it all flow away, and let your light flow into you and expand throughout you. And allow yourself to open your minds and imaginations to the idea of the different shells of Earth. Again, these are simply different vibrational states that represent different levels of consciousness that are connected to your planet, to your people, to nature, in a variety of ways. So let yourself simply be familiar with the idea, first and foremost, of course, of the physical shell. In a calm, relaxed, natural way. The beauty of it, the nurturing of it, of nature itself, the warmth of it, the coolness of it, all the things that to you represent the most positive qualities of physical reality. When you allow yourself to feel that vibration expanding within you, then let your imagination take it a little bit farther up the vibrational scale in frequency and pierce into the idea of the elemental shell, where there is a free-flowing consciousness that can allow itself to crystallize here and there in different shapes, different presentations and representations, to interact with each and every one of you in ways that will stimulate your consciousness, allow you to see things differently than you ever have before, may send you down new paths of experience and understanding. Allow yourself to know that those elementals are always there. You may not always see them, but you may feel them, until such time as you allow yourself to equalize your vibration with the elemental shell, so that they can become quasi-visible, which will act for them as more of an invitation to become more solid and more visible to you. So allow yourself to think of them as being just right on the edge of physical reality as you know it. Doesn't take much of a vibrational shift to experience them. Then allow yourself to open up to the etheric shell, in which you can have communications and conversations with spirits, with beings that may once, in your terms, linearly have been alive on your planet and are no longer, your spirit guides, friends and family that have passed on, who may be able now and then, when appropriate, to take on a physical form representation to interact with you more solidly in that lower astral realm that vibrationally is very strongly connected to physical reality. Allow yourself to allow your mind to go into, your imagination to go into that etheric realm where the spirits can make themselves known to you, and you can have the communications that will let you know that nothing has been lost, that the relationships still exist, that you can learn and play together on and on eternally, no matter what state of being anyone may be in. And then allow your imaginations to broaden and allow your vibrations to rise into the archetypal shell that allow you to commune with the gods and goddesses, with the symbolic forms of shamans, with lightning and thunder, and even with the beginnings of the Kachina beings, the spirit beings that exist between dimensions, for they can partake of the archetypal shell to present themselves in ways that make sense to the symbols of your physical mind, so that you can learn to have a different style of communication in symbolic form, and open up your telepathy and telepathy with them to really let in the idea of the symbols that represent your path in life, so that you can learn a language that is more simplified, more telepathic, so you can move forward and expand your vibration in a very different way, and learn more about the path that you are above and beyond the physical reality, and how different groupings on your planets with different agendas and different goals can sometimes be a way that archetypal consciousness has of presenting itself by bringing together people of like mind for different purposes that are their passion, and in those groupings to represent an archetypal ideal, an archetypal path, an archetypal energy that can guide you by being familiar with your particular ideas, your particular passions, and you gather together and attract to you magnetically all the beings of like mind, and thus contain within that grouping a powerful archetypal presentation of a higher energy that will allow you to move forward in an effortless, efficient way. And then continue to expand your consciousness to incorporate all of the ascended masters and teachers that have brought through the collective consciousness to let you all know you are equally powerful, that your vibration can raise to a high point of fourth density reality where you have strong connections to all that is in a variety of ways that are relevant and germane for your physical path, to be teachers yourselves and learners yourselves on your path, as your path, to share with others that which you know will serve them, which will allow them to illuminate their own inner spark and broaden it and shine it forth. Whether they take it or not is not the issue, for it's none of your business whether they do. But to be of service to the collective whole, in love and light, in peace and harmony, in beauty and grace for all concerned, so that all may tap into that collective and be who they truly are, be the piece of the big puzzle picture that they were made to be the shape that is true for them, so that all may fit together in harmony with every other piece and form the big picture that supports all the pieces, even as the pieces support the big picture. Allow yourselves to let your vibrations rise according to what is needed at any given moment, dynamically shifting back and forth from shell to shell, or incorporating all the shells depending upon what it is you are doing and who it is you are being, and what aspects of yourself you are bringing to the forefront of your experience as a physical persona. Let it harmonize and blend with all the other aspects of your personality in whatever ways, again, serve you and everyone best. Let it all fall into place automatically through the beauty and the archetype of synchronicity, which permeates all of the vibrational energy of your reality. And it is one of the main structures of your reality itself. For everything is an orchestration. Everything is synchronicity. It just depends on how you're looking at it. That reveals what you need to see out of the holographic whole that synchronicity is. For synchronicity is physical reality's way of letting you know that everything is connected. and that distance and separation are illusions. Use them to your benefit, but do not let them rule the structure of your consciousness in a way that prevents you from tapping into whatever you need at any given moment. For physical reality is a projection of your consciousness. In a sense, is an illusion that you can use to your benefit if you understand the power of the illusion instead of falling under the illusion of power. Let yourself drift and dream in this understanding and feel your vibrations shifting and rising and focusing on whatever shell is germane for you, is important for you, is relevant for you at any given moment, and interact with the forms of consciousness therein. They are there to serve you. You are there to serve them. Let yourself drift and dream and become more lucid in the concept of the physical dream, so that you become more lucid in all the different shells that allow you to dream the dream awake and aware as you move through life. The life that is you, the unique you, the aspect of you that is the reflection of all that is in this unique way. Breathe it in and make it your own. Our unconditional love to you all, our deep appreciation and gratitude to you all. Allow yourself and the shells within you to blend and harmonize as they need to, so that you may be more of who you truly are and shine forth as a living example to others, that they can also choose that path as well in their own unique way. Be here, be now, be at peace, and welcome home. We bid you good day.